Hello and welcome to my new podcast. The reason I started this project is because I want to be of more service to my audience directly. What that means is that each episode I want a member of my audience, you, to be a guest on my podcast, and we can talk about anything you want that you believe I can help you with. These are basically free coaching calls. We can talk about anything the guest wants as long as he believes that I'm competent in that field. And of course, the reason the coaching calls are recorded is so you can listen to them and benefit from the same information. Now, if you want to be a guest on my podcast, you can. Follow me on Instagram and look for the post where I announce that I'm looking for a new guest. If you fit the podcast requirements linked in my Instagram bio, you have to read the podcast requirements, and you are available at the time I'll be recording the podcast, comment on the picture saying you want to be a guest. After 24 hours, I randomly choose someone from the comments to be the next guest. If that happens to be you, you get to be on this podcast. My guest for this episode is Kabir. When he was 19, he was diagnosed with cancer. He's completely fine now, he responded very well to treatment, but that experience made him realize life is precious. During treatment, he made the decision to start developing himself as a person, get in better shape, and start his own business. Now, at 21 years old, he's an aspiring game developer. Kabir wanted to talk to me about habit change, how to beat procrastination, and how to know if we should change our profession and move on to doing something else. I thought this was the most insightful episode so far, but for some reason, the audio did not record right and it was filled with interruptions. I did my best to cut those bits out to make it more comprehensible, but if you still find it unbearable, you can just skip this episode. From now on, I will stop using Google Hangouts and move on to a different software to hopefully improve the sound quality and prevent this issue from happening again in the future. Thank you for understanding, and I hope you'll enjoy this episode regardless. Okay, so Kabir, what can I help you with? What do you want to talk about in this episode?
I prepared like 2 or 3 topics I wanted to talk about, and basically the main thing I want to ask is about cognitive dissonance. Like I saw the series you did on self-improvement and discipline, and this really stuck with me, how we have a certain idea of something in our head and we are stuck to it even though we know something's better. So I just want to basically know how one could get over that and prevent it from happening.
Okay, I think in my experience and from what I've read, the best way to prevent yourself from doing what you know is bad is to constantly repeat to yourself what you should be doing. This is why I promote the idea of having a goal card so much, because one thing that we cannot do is choose what thoughts we wish to have in the future. For example, it would be great to be able to decide, tomorrow I only want to have productive thoughts. Unfortunately, we can't choose what we are going to think in the future. But what we can choose is the information that we expose ourselves to, or the ideas that we expose ourselves to. I think we should surround ourselves with suggestions that we want to make to ourselves, auto-suggestion, but surrounding yourself with people that you admire is also very helpful. And we can do that in real life, but we can also do that through books, videos, and audio. For example, if you listen to the ideas of a person through a podcast or through an audiobook 3 hours a day, that's like spending 3 hours a day with that person in a coffee shop, almost.
Yeah.
Of course, you cannot interact with them. And I think we should surround ourselves with the ideas that we would like to have in our lives as much as we can, through messages, through recordings, through books, through images, through quotes, through any
Right.
that we have available.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
And do you have another example of how this cognitive dissonance is maybe preventing you from doing something that you want?
So since I'm developing games, I haven't released any yet, but I have to work on a big project. So I have this thing in my head where I know I can be motivated. Well, I don't like using that word. I know I can be disciplined and get and do that project, but sometimes I get distracted, and then that comes back to me, and I think, oh, maybe I'm not disciplined enough to get through this. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle that starts, but at some point I stop, I regain control, but then at some point it comes back again. So that is some sort of cognitive dissonance, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, the terms I use for cognitive dissonance is a bit different. I call it paradigms. Basically, you have
Mm.
a paradigm is a collection of habits and beliefs. And I think the only way that we can stop ourselves from falling into our usual habitual pattern is by developing awareness. I define awareness as the state when you are able to look at your thoughts, to detect them. Unfortunately, awareness is the rarest and probably the most valuable mental state we can have. And I think the way to increase the number of moments of awareness you have in a day is through meditation, or what some people call mindfulness, where you just
Right.
observe yourself.
Hmm.
And I think it helps a lot if you can identify the habits or tendencies that you want to change. For example, if you want to procrastinate less on social media, realize that I have a paradigm that says when I've been working for 1 hour, I usually have the tendency to go on social media just to check if there are some notifications or whatever. Well, in that case, I would say what we need to become aware of is after I do about 1 hour of deep work, I get the tendency to go on social media. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah, if we become aware of that,
Hmm.
then after about 1 hour, we think, oh, okay, it's that moment where I'm about to have the tendency to go on social media. I will
Hmm.
give you a very good example. In my case, I've made the decision to stop watching porn a few months ago, and I noticed I finally noticed after months what was the pattern that was preventing me from being able to do that in the past. It was this. You're working. You're a guy. You probably know this. You're working. You just do your thing, and you get the thought of porn. You maybe get an image of porn or whatever in your mind,
Right.
and if you concentrate on that thought, then that thought only grows. One thought leads to another and
Mm.
another, and your mind gets saturated with those images, and then your behavior tends to follow the images in your mind. So you get the tendency to go on a porn site. And I figured this out a very long time ago. I knew that, oh, okay, I'm starting to get thoughts about porn in my mind, and that's probably gonna take me to a porn site.
Right.
But when I started to when I made the decision to stop watching, I noticed something changed. After I got one of those thoughts, I would say to myself, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna watch a little, like 2 minutes, and then I'm just gonna go back to work, just to it's like get a taste, but then oh God, no, that's it, go back to work." And that never worked, because if I stepped over the line and just even watched some pictures, or just opened a porn site and didn't even click on a video, I lost already, because then the pattern was, oh, if I watched a bit now, I can just keep watching. And it took me a very long time to to finally become aware enough to identify that voice that says, oh, come on, just a little bit. And that is the only moment where I need to have willpower. I say, okay, no, it's not just a little bit. I know myself. This happens for so many times that
Yeah.
I know the behavior pattern already. So what I do in that moment, I just I just don't watch. I distract myself with something else. And that is what I would call awareness. Being aware of your tendencies and being able to identify the thoughts that you want to avoid when they come in your mind.
I appreciate the thought, though. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah. So my third question was about being sure that what I'm working on is what I would like to be working on in the future, and whether a change of heart could occur in my field, and maybe basically the fear that maybe one day I do not want to do what I'm doing right now, and I have specialized so much that it is too late to get out of that specialization and do something else at the time, while still making money from the same field.
Actually, this question fits me perfectly at this moment, because I will tell you my story, and hopefully you will get some insights from that and maybe an answer to your question. When I started my fitness website and fitness YouTube channel at the beginning of 2014, I think it was, I knew this was not going to be what I will do for the rest of my life, or not even my main field of expertise for the rest of my life. I knew that right from the start, but it was the only way I saw at that time to provide value to people, because I remember that, well, my goal was to earn profits, because that was the way I wanted to measure my progress, personal development, and progress in life, whatever. I chose money because it's easy to count. So I made a list of what services and what value I can provide to other people in order for them to give money to me in exchange. And I realized I had nothing. I had almost nothing at that time. No skills, no knowledge, no ability to do any job, basically. And the only thing where I saw some opportunity was fitness. So then I said, okay, maybe I could help people lose weight and get lean, because that's what I did for myself and for some friends. And I realized that was the main thing the main way I could provide value to other people. So that's what I did. And I made a decision that I was going to focus on fitness for at least a few years, because it was the only thing I saw at that time. So that's what I did. I read, hundreds, maybe thousands of hours. I watched content. I built my nutrition and training knowledge, and I started to get better and better at teaching people about fitness, about getting results in myself. And eventually I hit the goal I had, the income goal I had. And that was the point where I realized, okay, now what? Do I increase my goal and set an even bigger financial goal in order to grow my fitness business even more, or do I do something else? And because it was doing so well, and I was so I liked making videos so much, I initially set a bigger financial goal. But then I realized that the bigger the financial goal got, the more connected I had to get myself with the fitness path. And I had to really become an expert, to really know the business and really delve into that. And that's when I subconsciously started to have doubts. It was like I didn't actually want to do that. So finally, after about a year of thoughts and considering something else, I made the decision that I'm probably gonna expand my area of content and try to do something else. And this is what I've been doing for the last 6 months. I'm now writing a big video on energy, and it's like it's not even related. It's completely different, and I want to address other subjects in the future as well. Actually, when I launched Unstoppable Discipline, it was also different from fitness. And again, my audience reacted skeptically, like, what? Why are you talking about psychology and discipline and stuff like that? You just lift weights and that's it. But actually, behind the scenes, I studied that a lot, and actually was interested in discipline and personal development way longer before I started studying fitness. But I didn't share that. Now you're asking about when you make the transition, how you are going to support yourself. I think that if you work diligently in the few years where you build your first source of income, and if it's a business, then it probably can support you for another 2 years or something, with very little work on your part, because you build the system in advance, and then it makes sales. It provides money with much little work than you did in the beginning when you built the system. And this is what happens for me. For example, I still get views on YouTube. I still get emails from new people, and on the fitness programs and Unstoppable Discipline, even though I haven't posted a video on YouTube in about 4 months now, or five or 6 months. I don't even remember. And this allows me to make the transition until I build a new source of income, maybe in a different field. So to put that all in a short answer, I think that it's okay to start doing something that you know is not going to be your life calling or what you're going to do until you die. I think that's fine, but you need to be honest with yourself. We need to know, okay, I'm not going to do this forever, but I will give it everything I can now, because it is the only thing that I see. And I think you do it only until something else inspires you, or what you're doing no longer inspires you. That is the moment where you make the switch. I noticed that lately, for example, in the last year, I've read way less fitness content and fitness studies and research reviews, and I read way more on something else. I read way more on psychology. I read a lot on energy, about meat production. That is, again, it indicated that, okay, I'm no longer that attracted to fitness. I'm starting to get attracted by something else. Maybe I should go in this direction. But this is something that I didn't allow myself to do 2 years ago. I was like I had tunnel vision. This is the only thing that I do. The only thing. I only learned about fitness, about cameras, and about YouTube and vlogging. That's it. Those were the only things that I focused on, and I knew that was not even gonna be what I will do for the rest of my life. So I think this is what I would recommend to you as well. Focus on what you're doing right now until you're no longer inspired by it, or until you see a different opportunity.
What about the skills I develop right now doing something right now? And then if I want to switch to something else and those skills are not transferable directly, and how do you think it would still be worth it to make a transition, or should I ease into it a little more slowly?
I think this depends a lot on how you measure progress in life. Because who says that the right path in life is where you build really great expertise in one field in order to maximize your profits in that field? It's only a life philosophy. You don't even have to follow it yourself. If that is the life philosophy, if you're interested in maximizing profits for the rest of your life, then I think that yes, it would be unproductive to develop skills that are not transferable to something else that you want to do, because you're just wasting time of your life when you could achieve financial results by improving your skills even further and growing a business even further. But you're not forced to do that. You can choose to measure your life progress in any way you want. For example, yes, many of the fitness skills that I built maybe will get degraded in the future, but I'm fine with that, because I no longer want to measure my life progress just in money and in weights lifted or whatever. So I think it depends on how you measure success.
Okay, that helps a lot. That's a very nice thought. So I like the idea of having being able to choose how I measure my own progress.
If you think about it, well, the way I think of this is that we just wake up on this earth without a clear goal. We have no idea why we're here. So we just look around to see what other people are up to. And we see, oh, look, these people are chasing big houses and money, are chasing building big corporations. Well, that must be important. Then we see religion, and we see people worshiping different gods and building big temples. And we say, oh, okay, that must be important too. Then we see the Olympics, and people train their entire lives to earn a gold medal. And we say, wow, well, the Olympics are important. Just once every 4 years, wow, I need to watch those. And then there are football games and proms and weddings and whatever. I think we people, with everything that we do, we just try to give our lives more meaning, because it doesn't have meaning by default. We need to give it. Society determines collective goals for everybody else. For example, I think the biggest game humanity invented to give our life meaning is the economy. This is the biggest game. This is the game that everybody plays, and this is where the biggest winners are. For example, if you're the richest person in the world, you can consider yourself to be a winner in one of the biggest games possible in this world, and you're one of the best. That's great. You're really awesome. But other games are, football. If you're one of the best players, you are a winner in a very big game. You're somebody. Other games are, there are so many. Mountain climbing. Why would anyone want to climb mountains? Why would anyone want to climb Everest? Because it is a challenge. It indicates that you're one of the best in the game of climbing mountains. I think this is, at least this is my philosophy. And I think many people are faked out by the idea that their purpose in life is to win at the game of money, because that is the one that is most promoted. If you are rich, you are a winner, and you can be happy with your life because you've made it. But who says that's it? It's only a collective paradigm that says, yes, being rich is important. Being rich is what gives your life meaning. But we can choose. We can say, no, that doesn't matter to me. I'm going to determine whether I'm successful or not by the number of mountains I'm going to climb, or by the number of inventions I'm going to invent, or by the number of, by how quickly I can run 100 meters. And who says that can be your life? You're gonna die anyway, and I think we can choose our games however we want. For me, it was very liberating when I finally realized that just building money in order to earning money in order to keep score is something that I actually can stop doing. I can determine my own score and live life the way I want it. And I think if you're going to think about it like that, and you are going to be in charge of how you measure your success, then the way you make your decision is going to be much clearer. If you want to change what you do, you just change what you do, because that is what makes you more successful at the game that you chose to have in your life.
That definitely opened my eyes. That's pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, those are my three questions, pretty much. So
Awesome.
thank you so much for providing so much value.
You're welcome, Kabir. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.